I never thought I'd weaponize my own vulnerability like that. But when Karen Hargrove, our self-crowned queen of the C-suite, decided to turn my epilepsy into her personal power play, she handed me the match to light her empire on fire. In a room full of executives, she flipped the switch on those goddamn strobe lights, knowing full well what it would do to me because I disclosed it in my HR file 3 years ago, right after she poached me from Silicon Valley with promises of equity and family-first vibes. And as I convulsed on the marble floor, foaming at the mouth while her Louboutins clicked indifferently past, I heard her whisper to the board, "See? Weak links break. Time to cut the dead weight." That wasn't the hook, though. The real gut punch came 2 weeks later, when the viral video hit X, me seizing, her smirking, and the internet crowned her Karen of the Year before the cops even slapped the cuffs on. But I wasn't done. Betrayed doesn't cover it. She didn't just trigger my seizure. She erased my career, my dignity, and the trust I'd built in a cutthroat tech world that chews up dreamers like me. Revenge? Hell, it was justice served cold, with a side of schadenfreude, so sweet it burned. My name's Alex Rivera, and up until that boardroom bloodbath, I was the golden boy of Hargrove Innovations, the guy who coded the algorithm that turned our AI diagnostics app into a billion-dollar beast. Picture this: Seattle's rainy winters giving way to those crisp fall days where the Space Needle pokes through the clouds like a middle finger to mediocrity. I'd hustled from a cramped apartment in Belltown, coding late nights with cold brew and Adderall chasers. Because in tech, you're either innovating or irrelevant. Karen spotted me at a TEDx talk in 22, where I demoed how our neural net could predict epileptic episodes with 92% accuracy. Ironic, right? She cornered me at the after-party, all bleach blonde bob and pearl earrings, cooing about how I was the future of compassionate computing. Next thing I know, I'm VP of R&D, with a corner office overlooking Elliott Bay and stock options that could have bought me a house in Capitol Hill. But Karen? She was the present, ruthless, relentless. The kind of CEO who quoted Sheryl Sandberg in meetings but treated her lean in like a license to steamroll. Born in some WASP enclave outside Boston, she clawed her way up from marketing drone to tech titan by marrying venture capital to her Viper tongue. By 2025, Hargrove Innovations was the darling of the Pacific Northwest, specializing in health tech that empowered the underserved, except when the underserved included anyone who didn't kiss her ring. She'd built her brand on empowerment anthems, TED Talks on fierce femininity in STEM, Instagram reels of her hiking Rainier in designer gear. Caption Boss Babe. But behind closed doors, it was all about control. She micromanaged code reviews like a reality TV diva, firing devs for vibes misalignment, and once made a junior engineer cry in the break room over a font choice. I should have seen the cracks early. My epilepsy, diagnosed at 16 after a seizure behind the wheel, nearly killed my little sister. That's the baggage I carry. The reason I poured my soul into that predictive AI. I disclosed it during onboarding, per ADA guidelines, and Karen herself signed off on the accommodations. No strobe-heavy presentations, flexible hours post-seizure, even a quiet room for recovery. We're building empathy into every line of code. Alex, she'd said, her manicured nails tapping my shoulder like she owned it. For 2 years, it worked. We launched ApiGuard, the app that synced with wearables to warn users of oncoming fits. And I was her poster child, diversity hire with a side of genius. Then came the quarterly board meeting in October 25. The stakes? Massive. We just inked a deal with Kaiser Permanente. And the board, stuffy suits from Sand Hill Road, wanted metrics, not miracles. Karen had been edgy all week, snapping at her assistant over oat milk lattes and rage retweeting articles on quiet quitting as millennial weakness. My presentation was the opener, a demo of ApiGuard 2.0, complete with holographic projections and, yes, those flashy strobe effects to simulate seizure triggers for the visuals. I'd cleared it with the AV team. No epileptics in the room, right? Except me, the idiot who'd forgotten to double-check. The conference room on the 42nd floor of our glass tower hummed with anticipation. Puget Sound glittered outside. Ferries cutting white wakes like escape routes I didn't yet know I needed. Karen strode in last. As always, in a crimson sheath dress that screamed, "Don't fuck with me." The board, 12 white dudes and Brooks Brothers, plus 2 token women who'd long ago drunk the Kool-Aid. I dimmed the lights. Heart pounding, not from nerves, but the familiar pre-meeting buzz that sometimes mimicked an aura. Gentlemen and ladies, I started, clicking to the demo. The projector whirred to life. Holograms dancing in azure light. That's when she did it. Midway through my pitch on trigger avoidance. As I explained how the app detected flashing lights via phone cams, Karen leaned over to the AV tech, some kid interning for credits, and murmured something. The kid nodded, fumbling the remote. Suddenly, the room erupted in strobes, rapid-fire pulses, white-hot and relentless, synced to a bass-heavy soundtrack she'd apparently queued up for impact. The board chuckled at first, thinking it was part of the show. But I felt it, the tunnel vision, the metallic taste, the world tilting like a bad VR glitch. I gripped the podium, whispering, "Turn it off," but my voice drowned in the techno thump. Karen's eyes locked on mine, not with concern, but calculation. She'd known. My disclosure was in her inbox. Hell, she'd referenced it in a diversity report last quarter. This was an accident. It was audition. Was I executive material, or just a prop to showcase her resilient team? The seizure hit like a freight train, muscles locking, vision blacking out, body slamming to the floor amid gasps and overturned chairs. Urine soaked my slacks, mortifying, but that's epilepsy for you. No dignity in the drop. Through the haze, I heard fragments. "Call 911. What the hell?" Karen and her. Cool as Puget fog. Overhyped talent meets reality. "We'll need a replacement by end of day." No ambulance for me yet. Just her heels clicking away. Board members averting eyes like I'd shat on the carpet. Paramedics hauled me out on a gurney. The strobe show still flickering mockingly behind smoked glass. By the time I woke in Swedish medical, groggy on Ativan, my phone was blowing up, colleagues texting, "WTF happened," and a company-wide Slack from Karen. Team, a reminder that innovation demands resilience. Alex is resting, demo rescheduled. Resilience. That word haunted me in the ER, staring at the 4 drip while nurses cooed about corporate stress. Betrayal? It was a gutting. I'd given her my best code, my vulnerability on a platter, and she served it up as spectacle to impress the money men. Discharge papers in hand, I Ubered home to my queen and walk up, the city lights blurring like afterimages. That's when the rage crystallized, not hot, but glacial. She hadn't just triggered a seizure, she'd triggered me. And in America, where cancel culture meets civil suits, revenge isn't a dish best served cold. It's a lawsuit with viral sauce. The next morning, October 15th, I lawyered up. Not some ambulance chaser, but Elena Vasquez, the shark who'd gutted Amazon in a whistleblower case last year. Over Zoom from her Pike Place office, smelling of salt air and espresso. She leaned in. "Alex, this screams intentional infliction. ADA violation. Assault with intent. Did she know your triggers?" I forwarded the HR file, the signed accommodations, even a screenshot of her emailing about sensitivity training that never happened. Elena's eyes lit up. "We're talking 7 figures. Plus injonction. But you want blood? Go public." Public. The word tasted like cheap Merlot. I'd always been the quiet coder, not the TikTok warrior. But scrolling X that night, AP Guard trending with users praising our life-saving tech. I saw her pin post. A selfie from the boardroom post-chaos. Captioned, pushing boundaries today, resilience wins. Hargrove strong. No mention of me. Just her triumph. Likes poured in. 50K. From influencers to VCs. Rage boiled over. I drafted a thread. The CEO who triggered my epileptic seizure to test me. Here's the video. Attached. Grainy cell phone clip from a coworker. Me, thrashing. Her unmoved. I hit post at 2 a.m. Pacific time. By dawn, it had 10K retweets. Karen seizure trended in Seattle. Then nationally. Memes exploded. Karen as the evil queen from Snow White. Apple labeled strobe light. Feminist clapback. Not all Karens. While disability advocates roared. Elena called at 8. You're viral. Kid. But brace. She's lawyering up too. Sure enough. By noon. Hargrove's PR machine spun it. Tragic medical event. CEO's thoughts with Alex. Thoughts? I take a check. The backlash hit like a squall. Protests outside our tower. PWD activists with signs. Epilepsy isn't entertainment. Local news vans clogged Alaskan way. Karen went radio silent. But leaks trickled. Board whispers of her overreach. VCs pulling funding. I hold up. Fielding calls from CNN. Dodging paparazzi in flannel. My sister, Mia, flew in from Portland. Hugging me fierce. You were always too nice for this industry. Bro. Burn it down. She was right. Nice got you seized on. Week 1 post thread. The company imploded. Stock dipped 15%. Partners like Kaiser ghosted. Karen emerged in a carefully scripted video. Tear-streaked. In soft cashmere. I take full responsibility for a miscommunication. My heart breaks for Alex. Miscommunication? The strobes were deliberate. I had the AV kids' affidavit by then. The intern spilling how she'd ordered maximum impact visuals. No holds barred. Elena filed the suit. Assault. Battery. Emotional distress. ADA breach. Damages? $50 million. Plus punitive to send a message. But controversy brewed. X lit up with divides. Overblown PC culture ruining business from MAGA accounts. Versus, this is why we believe survivors from lefty threads. Karen's defenders, mostly bro VCS, painted me as the snowflake. Guy codes for a living. Can't handle lights? Weak. It stung. But I leaned in, guesting on podcasts like Tech Trauma Hour, spilling the corporate underbelly. It's not just me, I'd say. Voice steady on mic. It's every marginalized coder she chewed up. Listeners ate it up. Donations poured in my GoFundMe for AP Justice Fund. By week 2, the heat turned infernal. Anonymous DMs flooded. Death threats from her fan club. Doc's attempts tracing my Belltown pad. I moved to Mia's Airbnb in Fremont. Trolls graffitiing "faker" on the door. Karen countersued for defamation, claiming my thread sabotaged the company. Irony gold. Her lawyer, some Ivy Slick from Perkins Qua, deposed me over video, Mr. Rivera. Isn't it true you exaggerated for clout? I stared him down, watched the tape. Her face says it all. The trial loomed like a storm front. But I wasn't waiting. Revenge phase 2. The whistle blow. I'd saved emails. Years of her corner cutting. Fudged clinical trials for AP Guard. Underpaying diverse iris. Even sexual harassment settlements buried in NDAs. Elena greenlit a drop to ProPublica. Headline hit November 1st. Inside Hargrove. The CEO who prioritized profits over patients. The piece detailed it all. My seizure as symptom of a toxic culture. Backed by 10 ex-employees. Stock cratered 40%. Board ousted her in emergency session. Leaked minutes showed panic. Karen's liability is a black hole. She fought dirty. Of course. Paparazzi shots of me at a Capitol Hill bar. Unhinged plaintiff parties while suing. Never mind, it was one beer with Mia. Her ex-army amplified, stand with Karen, framing her as victim of woke mob. Debates raged on Fox versus MSNBC. Entitlement epidemic or disability discrimination milestone? I stayed off socials, meditating with ocean sounds, but the betrayal festered. She'd promised family, delivered fracture. As file 1 closes, the city's neon pulse mocks from my window. Justice? It's a marathon, not a sprint. But with Elena's war chest and public fury, Karen's crown was cracking. Little did I know, the real shatter was coming. November blurred into a frenzy of depositions and drive-bys, figurative and literal. One night, a black SUV tailed my Uber from Court to Fremont, heart slamming as I pictured Karen's hired muscle. Paranoia? Maybe. But in 25's gig economy, revenge gigs were just DoorDash away. Elena laughed it off over foe at a Capitol Hill spot. They're bluffing. Alex. Her empire's crumbling. Focus on the win. Win. That word felt foreign. Like bespoke suits, I couldn't afford pre-suit. My GoFundMe hit $200,000. Enough for therapy and a lawyer-retained PI digging into Karen's skeletons. The PI, a grizzled ex-cop named Ruiz, delivered gold. Financials showing she'd siphoned R&D funds into her personal wellness retreat in Napa. $2 million for yoga with unicorns or whatever rich bitches do. More damning? Text to the AV kid. Make the demo unforgettable. Push Alex's buttons. Literally. Intent. Proven. We amended the suit. Fraud. Embezzlement. Media frenzy peaked. Time dubbed it the seizure scandal. My mug next to her scowl on covers nationwide. I did my first national spot on The View. Whoopi squeezing my hand. Baby, you strong. Sonny Hostin grilled the hypocrisy. Empowerment for thee. Not for me. Backlash waves crashed harder. Karen's tribe, entitled millennials aping her hustle porn, stormed my mentions. Cry bully much? She built that company. One viral thread dissected my TEDx talk, claiming I'd milked my epilepsy for clout years ago. It hurt. Dredging high school memories of lockers, scrawled spaz, but I countered with a Substack, weaponized weakness. Why core fear the fragile? It went viral. 100K reads. Sparking APM power chats. Disability Twitter united. Stories of hidden seizures in cubicles. Bosses gaslighting distress. Karen, cornered, pivoted to victimhood 2.0. A tearjerker interview on 60 Minutes. Dim-lit penthouse overlooking the sound. Voice quavering. I made a mistake in the heat of battle. Alex was like a son to me. So, I'd have laughed if it wasn't so grotesque. She spun the strobes as enthusiasm gone awry. Blamed the intern. Even floated a misfiled disclosure. Morley Safer's successor pressed. Ma'am. The emails. She blinked doe-eyed. Fabricated by bitter exes. X exploded. Fact-checkers debunked in hours. But her base bought it. Karen Innocent spiking. The controversy? Nuclear. Protests swelled. Our tower vandalized with seizure simulator graffiti. Counter-protests from free market purists waving Sue Happy Snowflake signs. Seattle PD beefed up patrols. Mayor Bruce Harrell weighed in on local news. This ain't the Wild West. Accountability for all. My life, a pressure cooker. Sleepless nights replaying the fall. Aura migraines mocking with false alarms. Mia cooked abuela's pozole, reminding Papa didn't raise quitters. Dad, gone to cancer when I was 20, would have hated this circus but beamed at the fight. Trial date, December 10th. King County Superior. Pre-hearings were gladiatorial. Karen's counsel. The Perkins prick. Grilled witnesses. The intern crumbled. Sobbing, she said it'd make him shine. Board members flip-flopped. One admitting off record, Karen's always been intense. The seizure? Calculated risk. My side shone. Neurologist testimony on strobe risks. ADA expert eviscerating their oversight defense. Elena's closing in mock. This isn't error, it's erasure. A CEO who sees disability as disposable. Off court, I plotted deeper cuts. Remembering her family-first BS. I reached out to buried ghosts. The Latina dev she'd fired from maternity leave. The black marketer NDA'd after harassment claims. A chorus formed, anonymous affidavits piling like Seattle sludge. We fed him to the stranger. Alt Weekly that thrives on tech takedowns. Splash, Hargrove's Hidden Horrors, a toxic timeline. It detailed patterns. My seizure as crescendo in a symphony of spite. VCs bolted, stock tanked to penny status. Karen's Napapad went into foreclosure. Petty? Sure. But Schadenfreude is the best meds. Yet doubt crept. Late-night scrolls showed her GoFundMe, support a wronged leader, pulling $500,000 from SIM accounts. Comments. Fight the man. Karen. It twisted the knife. How many Alexes had she crushed before me? The betrayal wasn't just personal, it was systemic. Her entitlement a virus in America's merit myth. I doubled down, launching AP Justice as nonprofit. Free AI tools for underserved epileptics. Funded by suit proceeds. Partnerships rolled in, Mayo Clinic. Even Google.org. Purpose amid chaos. December dawn gray. Rain lashing like judgment. Courtroom buzzed. Spectators craning for the showdown. Karen entered first. Botox fresh. Flanked by suits. Our eyes met. Hers ice. Me nefida. No smirk now. Just the hollow stare of a cornered queen. I took the stand. Voice steady. She didn't just harm my body. She betrayed the trust that powers innovation. Gasps rippled. Her lawyer objected speculative. Judge, a no-nonsense black woman from Tacoma, overruled. Let him speak. Testimony flowed. The poach. The promises. The pivot to puppet. Jurors, diverse Seattle mix. Techies to teachers, nodded. Then her turn. Karen, poised. Spun silk. I built this for dreamers like Alex. A tragic lapse. But malice? No. Cross-exam? Elena shredded. Your text. Push buttons. Care to explain? Silence. Then tears, crocodile. But effective. Jury deliberated 3 days. Holidays loomed. City festooned in lights mocking our dark dance. Verdict drop. Guilty on assault with intent. ADA breach. $25 million. Half what we asked. But punitive $10 mil extra for egregious conduct. Cheers erupted. Karen bolted. Face ashen. Outside. Flashes blinded. Mike's thrust. Thoughts. I gripped Mia's hand. Justice. Not vengeance. But damn. It feels good. Lit ablaze. Karen cuff trending global. She appealed. Of course, delay tactic, but the board dissolved Hargrove Innovations. Assets auctioned. My epilepsy? Managed better now. App irony complete. But the bitter twist? As confetti fell in my mind, a juror note surfaced. Sympathy for her fall. But you earned this. Earned. Like trauma's a trophy. File 2 ends here. Rain easing to mist. Victory's sweet, but scars linger. Karen's end? Just beginning. Post-verdict glow faded fast. America's attention span shorter than a TikTok loop. By New Year's 26, Karen's seizure was ancient history, buried under election noise and celeb splits. I banked the settlement. Bought a modest craftsman in Wallingford, ivy-clad, with a backyard for Mia's dog, and funneled the rest into AP Justice. Office in Pioneer Square. Team of 5, coders, advocates, a therapist on retainer. We open-sourced AP Guard tweaks, partnering with Epilepsy Foundations coast to coast. Impact? Real. A teen in Philly dodging her first drive seizure thanks to our alert. Nights, though, Ide Jolta Waka. Strobe ghosts, flickering eyelids. Whispering Karen's whisper. Weak link. She didn't vanish. Appeal dragged into spring. Her war chest from loyalists funding Perry Mason dreams. Tabloids tracked her. Fallen CEO spotted in suburbs. A rented Tacoma tracked home. Far from Napa vines. Schadenfreude soured when Ruiz. The PI dug deeper. Divorce papers from hubby 3. A venture bro who'd bailed post-scandal. Kids, twin daughters. 16, schooled privately still. But whispers of bullying. Your mom's a monster, graffiti on lockers. Empathy flickered. Was I the villain now? Dismantling a family for my pain? Nah. Her choices. My consequences. Controversy reignited Memorial Day weekend. Karen dropped a memoir bombshell, entitled No More, a CEO's Reckoning. Ghostrun slop, $29.99 on Amazon. Framing her as martyr. Excerpts leaked. Alex's ambition blinded him to grace. I forgave, but he weaponized my error. X detonated. Fake apology trending. Disability influencers eviscerating. Forgiveness? Try accountability. I stayed silent. But Elena sued for libel. Judge tossed it. Free speech shield. Sales spiked anyway. Her base gobbling validation like kale smoothies. The backlash? A hydra. Pro-Karen pods invited me. Joe Rogan wants to know, snowflakes or survivors? I declined. But clips surfaced, me on smaller shows. Voice cracking. It's not about me anymore. It's the next Alex. Rogan ranted solo. Chicks like Karen built tech. Now it's litmus tests. Divides deepened. Reddit's r/Wall Street bets memed her fall. While r/feminism debated, is Karen the patriarchy's pawn? Outrage ping-ponged. But my metric? AP Justice downloads. 500K. Lives nudge from ledges. Summer scorched Seattle. Record 90s. Puget baked to ochre. I testified before Congress. Senate Health Committee on AI ethics. Sweltering D.C. Hearing room. Suits fanning with folders. Senator Warren grilled. Mr. Rivera, how do we prevent corporate cruelty? Elite et ba. Disclosure signal. Vulnerabilities exploited. Cameras rolled. Clip went viral. Biden retweeting protect the vulnerable. Karen crashed the afterparty, uninvited. Crashing waves in silk. Alex, she purred. Champagne, flute trembling. Water under the bridge. I met her gaze. Bridges burn when you light him. That exchange leaked. Twisted. Plaintiff taunts ex-boss. Her spinners amplified. Painting me aggressor. DMs surged. Karma's a bitch. Epileptic. Trolls dox me as cafe job in Portland. She quit. Crashing my couch. Rage reignited. Not at them, but the system letting entitlement echo. I channeled it. AP Justice Hackathon. 200 devs converging on our loft for trigger-free tech. Winners? An AR filter blocking strobes in real time. Press devoured. Wired cover. From seizure to savior. But Karen's counter-move? Savage. July 4th. She testified opposite me in a follow-up hearing, invited by red state senators smelling blood. Innovation thrives on risk, she opined. Blonde regrown. Not coddling. Clip spliced mine. Her poised. Me emotional. Polls shifted. A Gallup flash. 52% business needs toughness. Outrage boiled. Cancel Congress trending. Epileptics protesting Capitol steps. I joined. Sign. Risk is not equal to harm. Chants echoed Lincoln Memorial. Arrests made. But airwaves amplified. Betrayal's long tail. Old colleagues ghosted. Fearing association. A barista at my local Zoka misheard Rivera as that seizure guy. Comped my pour over with pity eyes. Isolation crept. But community filled voids. Epilepsy Foundation galas. Where I keynote to ball gowns and canes. One night, a donor, ex-Google ethicist, slipped me a drive. Hargrove server dumps. Pre-collapse. Goldmine. Emails proving she'd greenlit unsafe trials, risking user seizures for speed to market. We handed it to DOJ. Indictments loomed. Karen caught wind. Frantic call to Elena. Leaked. Natch, make it stop. Elena's reply. Pay up. Settlement talks brokered. $5 mil more. Plus public apology video. She filmed it in that tracked house kitchen. Formica counters screaming downfall. I failed Alex. No excuses. It dropped August 1st. Wooden delivery, tanking sincerity. Roasted. Oscar bait for jailbirds. Her appeal crumbled. Full verdict upheld. She faded to obscurity. Rumors of podcasting redemption road. But downloads? Crickets. Autumn leaves turned. Mirroring my mood, vindicated, but vacant. AP Justice thrived. Branch in Austin. App in Spanish, but seizures persisted. Auras ambushing board meetings. Therapy unpacked it. PTSD, not just epilepsy. She didn't break you, Doc said, but she scarred. Mia moved in. Her art studio crowding my garage. Family mended what core rent. File 3 winds down as fog rolls in off the sound. Karen's empire ash. Mine risin. But the bitter? Success tastes like ashes when built on another's burn. Her end loomed, but mine? Just unfolding. By Halloween 26, Karen's ghost-haunted headlines one last time. Bankruptcy filing. $18 mil in debts. Napa seized for back taxes. Tabloids tittered from CEO to creditor's nightmare. Pap shots of her hauling boxes from the Tacoma rental. Daughters sullen in Ubers. Schadenfreude faded to fatigue. Idebun, $40 mil total. AP Justice valued at $10 mil, but victory's hollow when the war wounds weep. A seizure mid-gala. Collapsing amid crystal flutes. Headlines recycled. Rivera relapses. Is justice cursed? No. It was life. Unscripted. I stepped back from spotlights. Delegating to my COO, a queer non-binary coder from Oakland. Fresh vision. Boardwalks with Mia became ritual. Fremont's canals. Geese honking freedom. She dated a barista, irony noted, while I swiped right on Hinge. Bio, code of my revenge, seeking plot twist. First date, disastrous. Aura, mid-appetizers. But she stayed, wiping my chin. Real heroes glitch. Love, budding. Fragile. Controversy simmered low. Karen's memoir tanked. Remaindered at Costco. Her pod? Canceled after episode 2's both sides drivel Drew boycotts. Lust gesp, opet in veyeşye. Lessons from the cancel. Why tough love builds leaders. Backlash biblical. Tough love is abuse trended. Epileptics sharing scars. I penned rebuttal for NYT. Love doesn't trigger, it protects. It landed. Pulitzer whispers. But I donated the check to foundations. The final nail? DOJ probe closed. Charges dropped for immunity deal. Her testimony on industry dirt. Fingering bigger fish like Meta's health divisions. She slunk to consulting gigs. Crisis management for the C-suite. Ironic tagline. Turned setbacks into comebacks. Client? Sparse. Whispers of toxicity trailing. Daughters? One emancipated at 17. Viral essay, Mommy Dears 2.0. The other? Therapy bound. Family fractured. My reckoning? Annual check-ins with the AV kid. Now a filmmaker. You saved me. Mun. He nods. Karma's real. AP Justice Global Now. Mexico City Beta. Alerts in Nahuatl. I mentor at UW. Kids wide-eyed. Build for humans. Not hype. Seizures? Down 30% with new meds. But I wear the scars like badges. Reminders that vulnerability's not vice. One crisp December Eve, anniversary of the verdict, I stood on my deck. Space Needle twinkling like absolution. Phone buzzed. Unknown number. Voicemail. Her voice, cracked. Contrite. Alex, it's Karen. I. I'm sorry. Truly. For everything. Click. Delete. Tempting. But I saved it. Played for Mia over wine. Closure. She shrugged. Or just another script. America churned on. New Karen's rising. New Alex is fighting. My story? Cautionary. Controversial canvas. Entitlement's cost. Resilience's rage. Betrayed to Avenger. I reclaim the narrative. Bitter end for her. Yeah, ruin. Reflection maybe. For me? Open code. Endless compile. As the file, entail, closes. Vogelliefts. Stars pricking velvet sky. Revenge served. But grace? That's the real hack.